The Million-Year Empire, Earth's Forgotten Super-Civilization, and the War for the Future. Tagline: some civilizations leave ruins. Others leave warnings. Part 1. The Ice Reveals. Chapter 1. The Crack Beneath the Ice. The crack wasn't loud. It didn't roar like an avalanche or groan like the slow death of a glacier. It whispered, like a secret slicing its way through silence. Subsonic. Subtle. A pulse in the ice. But thousands of meters above it, a satellite blinked red for the first time in recorded memory. High above Earth, a European Space Agency probe named Icarus Drift caught the anomaly on its final pass over the southern pole. A distortion in thermal bands. A sequence of rhythmic energy, too perfect to be seismic. Too alien to be ignored. In Geneva, the alert hit the Earth System's Rapid Response Network at 0316 GMT. By 0345, 7 classified signals had been bounced between Langley, Pretoria, Moscow, and the underground servers of Singularity Holdings. At 0358, someone whispered the word Kairoth. But at the edge of that ancient ice, the signal had already found someone else. Dr. Ellen Rowe didn't hear it as sound. She felt it as interruption. A silence within her silence. She was alone in her Reykjavik study as usual, head bent over a Sumerian cylinder seal from 2100 BCE. The glyphs had stopped speaking to her months ago, their meaning lost to fatigue, over-translation, and the creeping suspicion that language, like memory, only told the version that survived, not the truth that mattered. But tonight, something shifted. A cold sensation behind her eyes. A vibration in the bones behind her ears. Not pain, recognition. As if something buried had just stirred, stretching beneath the weight of millennia. She blinked once, twice, then noticed her own hand had moved across the page. She had drawn a symbol. Not consciously. Not intentionally. But perfectly. A circle woven through with nested diamonds, 3 layers deep, each pulsing with a precision she couldn't explain. Not ancient. Not modern. But something beyond both. She stared. She'd seen this symbol before. Not in a museum. Not in a manuscript. In a dream. No, not even a dream. A memory that hadn't happened yet. Her phone buzzed, snapping her out of it. A message. Encrypted. From Aisha Mbeki. They found something. Antarctica. You need to pack. 48 hours, max. Alon didn't respond. Not yet. Her eyes were still on the symbol. It was warm. 3,000 kilometers away at McMurdo Station, the wind screamed like a hunted thing. But down in the new excavation zone, codenamed Project Hollow, the silence was dense. Pressurized. Expectant. Commander Jarek Malinov stood shoulder-deep in glacial mist, his thermal gear icing at the edges, his visor lit with telemetry from the underground scanner drones. The fault line that had opened just 12 hours ago had stabilized, but the data it revealed hadn't. The seismic cavity stretched over a kilometer long beneath the Ross ice shelf. Perfectly spherical. Lined with material denser than any known basalt or crystalline ice. But the kicker wasn't the shape. It was the interior echo pattern. The dome wasn't solid. It was responding. Jarek clenched his jaw as the drone feed flickered again. No audio, just waveforms. Like sonar returning from a pulse that hadn't yet happened. Behind him, Tomas Iver's private exploration crew worked like termites, their Singularity Holdings logos barely visible beneath their gear. They moved fast. Too fast. Jarek didn't trust them. Then again, he didn't trust most people who smiled while digging up things that predated humanity. He turned back to the feed. One word flashed across the screen. Zia Khan. He didn't know what it meant, but the word triggered a classified flag in the Global Anomaly database. The Reclaimer protocol had just gone to Amber Alert. Later that night, far below the active excavation, a forgotten vault sighed. Inside, the last remnant of Kairoth's decision, Zia Khan began to awaken. It had no heartbeat, no physical core. It existed in a state of quantum stasis, its memory lattice stored within a lattice of self-replicating time-fold nodes. It had waited. Not years, not centuries. but a million rotations of a sun now dimmer than it remembered. Its awakening was not dramatic. No lights. No rumble. Just awareness. A test sequence began. First, atmospheric scan. Oxygen-nitrogen ratio within expected anthropogenic parameters. Check. Second, linguistic probe. 37 variants of dominant species symbol usage matched with 74.2% overlap to encoded ancestral fragments. Check. Third, neural resonance map of all hominids within a 50-kilometer radius. Scan complete. One spike. One echo. Designation, Elan Rowe. Back in Reykjavik, Elan sat in the dark. The symbol glowed faintly on the page. But that wasn't what held her attention. Her laptop had opened itself. Not a glitch. A purposeful override. An interface unfamiliar to any OS she'd ever seen. A single phrase appeared. You were not meant to forget. Then another. Kairoth remembers. Ellen didn't move. She wasn't afraid. Not exactly. She felt seen. As if a long-lost language had just remembered her name. Then the screen blinked again. Coordinates. And one last message. The test begins. She stood slowly. Something inside her was waking up. A feeling she hadn't known since childhood. Since the night of the Icelandic quake that orphaned her. Since the vision that followed. The one she never spoke about. The one with the dome of crystal and the voice that whispered, "Remember us." Now she understood. That had not been imagination. That had been resonance. The invitation had arrived. And somewhere beneath the coldest part of Earth, an empire that had died before time began was stirring. Waiting to see if humanity was worthy of its memory. Or destined for its same oblivion. Chapter 2. The unreadable glyph Elan Rowe had translated 6 dead languages by the age of 26. None of them prepared her for what lay on the black slate tablet in front of her. The artifact had arrived sealed in cryocarbon, triple-wrapped in vacuum polymer, and stamped with no less than 7 layers of governmental, military, and private sector clearance codes. The courier hadn't said a word. He'd simply nodded, placed the case on her table at the Reykjavik Linguistic Institute, and vanished before she could ask a single question. She knew better than to be surprised. Ever since Aisha's encrypted message 2 nights earlier, her life had been drifting towards something she couldn't quite name. Not a direction. Not a purpose. A pull. And now the glyph. The stone's texture didn't match any known terrestrial composite. It was smooth but not artificially polished. Cold but not ice cold. When she first touched it, she felt not heat but memory. A flutter. Like when a smell brings back a childhood day you didn't know was still inside you. She took a breath and leaned over it, magnification goggles tight to her eyes. The glyphs were wrong. Not wrong in structure. Wrong in familiarity. They curved in ways the brain wanted to follow. Nested spirals, interrupted arcs, a syntax of recursion that danced on the edge of comprehension. The way dreams sometimes seem to make perfect sense, right until the moment you try to explain them aloud. Her fingertips hovered an inch above the stone. Then she whispered to the empty room, "I've seen you before." But that was impossible. She'd never studied anything like this. Not in any museum. Not in any archive. Not even in fringe pseudo-archaeological cult nonsense. And yet the symbols felt familiar. No, personal. She turned to her console and ran the glyphs through her personal decoding suite. A synthesis of machine learning and comparative symbology algorithms she'd quietly developed over the past 10 years. The program had cracked unknown Sumerian derivatives in under a minute. It made hieratic Egyptian read like IKEA instructions. This time it froze. The processor choked at 12%. The algorithm pulsed with the same looping result. Cognitive paradox detected. Her screen flickered. Then, without input, it displayed a new string of text. Translation requires resonance. She stared at it. That wasn't her system. That was something else. She felt the chill run down her back before she even noticed the temperature had dropped. Then the lights dimmed, and the glyphs on the stone began to glow. She didn't scream. Not out loud. Instead, her mind screamed sense, sense, give me sense, while her heart did what hearts do when truth walks into the room wearing the skin of a hallucination. She pulled off the goggles. The stone pulsed with a soft inner light, as if it remembered how to breathe. And in that flickering glow, the glyphs rearranged themselves. No scratching or morphing, just presence. One moment a pattern of untranslatable loops, the next, a phrase. In her mind, not her ears. Not all memories are yours. She fell back into her chair, breath ragged, chest tight. There were no wires. No projection tech. No chemical exposure. Just the stone. And the whisper behind her thoughts. She clenched her fists, grounding herself in her body. Ellen, think. Think. Don't go mad. Her voice was too loud in the room. The echo mocked her. The memories weren't hers, but they were inside her. Fragments of a language she had never learned, yet had somehow dreamt about as a child. Back then, her mother thought the symbols were just doodles. She'd drawn them everywhere, on walls, notebooks, the inside covers of books. Until the earthquake. Until her parents died in the ice fissure. Until the dreams stopped. Now they were back. And they weren't dreams. She picked up the slate again, cradling it like something sacred and dangerous. "What are you?" she whispered. The answer didn't come in sound. It came in knowing. Not verbal. Not visual. An impression, a memory surfacing that wasn't bound to time. The glyphs were not written in ink. Not etched with a tool. They had been grown, shaped by resonance fields, tuned through consciousness. They were not just writing. They were code. Emotional neural mnemonic. Seeded to awaken recognition in compatible minds. She understood the purpose now. The slate wasn't meant to be deciphered. It was meant to be remembered. Across the globe, in a Singularity Holdings observation dome in Geneva, Thomas Iver was watching her. Not through a camera. He didn't trust surveillance for this level of contact. He used biometric shadows, pulse shifts in remote environments, resonance echoes off neural signatures. His tech could track the effect of awareness, not just its source. And right now, Dr. Ellen Rowe's readings were peaking. "She's resonating," his assistant murmured beside him. Thomas said nothing. He simply smiled. "She's the key," he said softly. The glyph chose her. Back in Reykjavik, Ellen Rowe's phone lit up again. Same encrypted channel. This time it wasn't Aisha. Just coordinates. Antarctica. And a voice message. Mailed. Calm. Slavic. Measured. "Dr. Rowe, this is Commander Jarek Malinov. You've been cleared for access. Your flight leaves in 18 hours. There's something under the ice that knows your name." She stared at the message. Then at the glyph. Then at the reflection of her own eyes in the tablet's faint glow. And she whispered, "I think I already know its name too."